Hello everybody, this is Kit 6. It is the Canard borders and the Anemone flowers. So I hope you're going to enjoy making this, and I think quite a few of you have asked for the different wording, but I will go through that as I go along. Put that to a side. This will be the prize for the one who is chosen to win this one, so don't forget to share your makes. I'm going to turn my camera down and I'll go through what you've got in your kit. So in your kit you will have got your bag of flowers and leaves, you'll have got your sentiments cut out, you'll have got all your borders cut out and your mats and layers. As far as I remember, all your cards have been pre-scored and folded, so we'll lay those to a side at the moment and we'll do the flowers, as it's the flowers that take the longest. We need to get those done so they'll dry. You'll need to have a nice deep pink ink pad. I'm using the Versacolour Peony, as you can see, and I'm also using the Versacolour Bamboo Green. So if you have similar colours to that, they'll work fine. You'll also have in your kit some of the stamens. These will be split as we go along, so don't worry, I will go through each thing step by step. I'm just going to pull out all my little bits out of the bag and we'll get started actually colouring the flowers and the leaves. So I've given you what's left of the die cuts, as these make beautiful stencils, so don't throw these away. You may find that you can find a use for them making backgrounds for your cards. So I'm just going to separate my flowers from my leaves. I'm going to pop my leaves to one side for the moment. Some of the flowers will still have the little hole centre. We just need to push them out. We don't need those, and you'll find it's a lot easier when we come to thread the stamens through if these are already taken out. I'm just poking them out. They have all been die cut, so they should drop out fairly easily. I'll just take these all out, move them to a side. I'm going to pop my flowers in size order and work through them. It makes it a bit easier when we come to pop them together, just to work out which layers go with which. So those are the layers. You should be able to, with these, get 3 flowers, and I'll show you how as I go along. So I'm going to now take a dauber. I'll put my teeth in so I remember, and I'm just going to hold petals over my finger and just flick with the dauber, just to give them, as you can see, just a nice colour on the edge. And we want to do this to all the petals, just steadily working round them all. For those of you that may have this die, you can actually do this while they are still in the die after you've cut them, and then you'll get lines coming out, radiating out from the centre, and that makes a totally different idea for you to try. I'm just going to work around all these. They don't need to be dark, but just enough to lift the colours, so you've got a nice contrast when you put your flowers together. And just steadily work all around these. And I'm using craft artist glue to put these together. You can use any good PVA glue. You can use the craft artist glue pen. You can use the I forgot what it's called now, the glue glaze, or you can use hot glue, or you can use the pin flare. It's entirely your preference, and do whichever you're used to doing. There is no right and wrong. It's whichever you're comfortable in using. I tried several different methods. Some I prefer more than others, but I think it's what you're used to using, and I'm not saying that you have to use any particular method for putting these together. I'm just giving you an idea of what you can do with these. You may like to try a totally different style when you put it together, and this is what I'm looking for when you do these kits. I'm looking for individuality. Just look at it before you start putting it together and think, how can I change it? Will it look different if I do it that way? And it is so much better to see something different and unique. Now, if you get ink on your fingers, especially if it's a dye ink, take a bit of kitchen roll and a little bit of sanitizer and just rub it off, and it comes off straight away. This is a tip that John told me. It also works for glue that's stuck to your fingers. So that's one good thing. Now I'm just going to shape these flowers. I'm using a long-nosed pair of tweezers, and I'm going to hold this, and if you can see, there's lines right down the middle, and there's one line that goes right in the middle. If you put your tweezers on that and just push up and do that on all your flower petals, it is so easy to do, and it's quite effective when you put your flowers together. So we just go round all the petals, just fold them up. If you fold them downwards, you get a totally different effect, and it's entirely up to you. If you want to try something different, go ahead, try it. That's the beauty of crafting. There is no right and wrong way. Nobody will say, oh, you've done that wrong, because that is your own individuality in crafting that works best. This is how I like to do it, but I've also tried the other way. I did a card yesterday where they were all turned downwards instead of upwards, and it looked totally different. But this one, I'm just doing it as I did the original sample card, so that it doesn't confuse everybody. And the beautiful of these anemones, I really love this flower. Let's just get these all done, and then we can put them together. And I don't know whether it's the same with you, but it's very, very windy here. Sunny, but very windy. But at the moment, I feel as if I'm living on a building site, because the chapel right outside my back door, they are modernising that. There's a lot of workmen working through the week. Number 3, 2 doors up from me, they've been working on that. And the re-roofing number 5 today as well. So I'm not happy, because I just feel as if the noise is continuous all week. So I'm now starting to take the stamens apart. So you can take this little green calyx off, keep that, because it works very, very well for when you put your flowers together, you can put them on the back. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to just run my knife just down the green, that just to unwrap. Whoops, I pulled one of those off. Just be careful, sometimes they do come off to these. Sometimes it pulls off really easily, and other times it doesn't. We don't want the long stem, we just want the actual stamens. So we end up with little stamens like this. So when you've got it open, you've got them like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull, whoops, 2, maybe 3 out, and they'll go together. Oops, pop one of those in with the others there, and just lay them to a side. Lay those to a side. So now we're going to start and put our flowers together, and I'm using just a good glue. This is the Nouveau glue, but it's I've actually filled it with the Craft Artist so that I'm not using the big one all the time. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in the centre, and then I'm going to cross my petals, making sure that I keep the hole in the middle. If I move my yellow mat in, you can maybe see it a little better. The contrast will be better. So if I put it like that, and I'm just going to hold it for a minute or two till it actually takes. I'm going to do the other one, the other big one, the same, and just a dab of glue. The only thing about this, with it being a bit thick, it doesn't always come out straight away. But I find that because I kept this because it's got a lovely fine nozzle, and it makes it a lot easier for for squeezing out. So again, that's that one done. And let me see, I think I will do this one next. So we just want 3 or maybe four flowers. We want an odd number. I just got to press that in. Let that just dry, and we'll go on to putting another layer in these, which should have dried a little bit now. Excuse me, if I cough, I'm sorry. I've been bothered with a bit of hay fever all week. That's the last one into here, into the centre, and pop that like that. So those are our 3 flowers that we put together like that. I'm taking the stamens that are, we don't want the big ones to start with. I'm just going to poke them through the hole until they come into the centre, and I'm going to just trim that little bit off there because I don't need all that. I'm going to now thread the calyx back on, but I'm going to put some glue right the way round, and actually try and fill the hole gently with it. Then pop your little calyx over the back. It's a little bit fiddly to start with, but once you've done them, it does give them a nice finish on the back. So as you can see there, just get like that. That will then dry. So that is the back of your flower, and they've got your little centres in. So just pop them to a side to be drying off. We'll do the next one here. Just want another calyx off. Ready? Whoops. That want to come off. And again, whoops. Again, as I say, the glue doesn't always want to come out with it. The Craft Artist being so much thicker, but I do like the finer nozzles. Again, if you just roll these together, it's the stems of the stamens together, it does push through a lot easier. And if it doesn't, just take your tweezers or your pokey tool and just push the last one through. Sometimes they just separate. And just cut that one, just push that one through. Yeah, through there. Doesn't want to go through. That doesn't want to go through, it's on that one. But it will go through. I have a way of persuading it. There, it's gone through. So again, turn it upside down and just trim off some of the back. It doesn't need a great deal. And again, I'm just going to roll that, put some glue all around and into the hole all the way around. just to seal it all in, and then put the calyx back on, and again just leave it to dry. It just finishes off your flower underneath. Okay, so we'll pop that one now to a side to dry, and then we can put these so they look a little bit more even. Just pop that upside down. And this one I'm going to put the full set in, so it will be easier. Whoops. Just want the calyx off. So again, you can put as many in as you want, or if you don't want to put the stamens in, you can put gems in. It's entirely up to you. If you don't feel as if you can put these through, it is so much easier. So push those through like that. Just gently ease it through. Turn it over. Just put the glue again just round the edge. Just enough to hold it in place as it dries, and put the calyx back on. And again, we'll just leave it to a side to dry. We're now going to go on and colour the, just move those and put my top onto my glue before it dries up. And we're now going to go on and just colour the leaves. So as I say, I'm using bamboo. Make sure your leaves are all facing the same way. Just work through these. There's some of mine are the right way, some of them are not. So just turn them all over the right way. And that's that one and that one. So again, take a dauber and again just tip over the edge of the leaves. It just gives some shading on your leaves so they don't all look the same colour. Doesn't matter if your green's a little bit darker, but I didn't want it to be too stark a contrast. There's some nice colours in the teardrop dyes. There is peel paint in the distress inks. There's quite a few in the eyes ink inks. So whichever inks you've got, I'm sure you can find one. As you can see there, if I hold that up against that one, you can see it just brings it more to life. And now go on to the next one. And by doing these first, these have a chance to dry fully before we start to assemble them on the card. That's that one. And just work around these, just tipping over the edges. Don't want to have a lot, but just enough to give them a little bit of shading. Oops. And just gives them a little bit of extra detail when you put it on your card. It stops them looking flat. We will do a little bit of moulding as well with them, but we'll leave that until we're putting them onto the card. Because it's better if the leaves are dry, the ink's dry on the leaves before we start to do the moulding. Doesn't want to come off. Let me grab it. And just the last one now. And then we can leave all those to dry and push them to a side. That's those. So I just pop my inks away. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay these just onto my yellow mat. And I put them out of the way so they don't get knocked while they dry. them like that and just pop them over there. And again, I've got ink on my fingers. Again, just, it's surprising what how good sanitizer is. Excuse me. As I say, brought it all off, so my hands are nice and clean now for going on to working on my card. I'm just going to have a quick drink. Right, so we're now going to work on our panels. So these are all the shape panels, and we need to be actually pairing these up with each of the pattern piece with the plain piece from underneath. So I'm working first of all on the white and the first scalloped one. So I'm going to use some glue. If you have the craft mount, the 3M craft mount, you can use that, but I know a lot of you do not have this. So make sure this is on the wrong side, and again we just want to run some glue just round, gently round all the little circles on the edge. So just run them all round like that, and it gives it a better finish because they'll all lay flat then. But we need to do these first. So again, just round the side, just rub some in like that, and we need to match these up with the scallops. It doesn't want to have a big border, so you can see just roughly like that. If there's a little bit left over at the side, don't worry, because when it's dry we can trim that little bit off, but that should fit nicely on your card like that. So I'll pop that to a side. I'll go on to this one. So your coloured one from underneath will be smaller. That doesn't matter in the slightest. So again, with this, we want to run the glue just under the scallop, the curved edge should I say, and just tiny little dabs just on the outside edge, just enough that it'll hold it flat on your card. And again, because this doesn't go right to the bottom, I'm just running a bit of glue about 1 centimetre up from the bottom. And again, we don't want a wide border. As you can see, that is my border that is left. There is a narrow bit at the bottom, so don't worry. And again, there's a tiny wee bit showing there and a tiny wee bit showing there, but once it's dry I'll trim those off. So go on to the next piece, and again, mine, I've just used a waste piece to cut that, so don't think all yours are like that. I can't get away with the small bottles of John's at all, but these old tonic bottles are ideal because they've got a fine nozzle and it's a lot softer to squeeze, but with it being a thicker glue, sometimes it just doesn't want to come out as well, but it is fine. So if you've had the tonic ones, the deluxe glue, and then you're going on to the craft artist, it is good to try it on there. So right, so now I'm going to just move this round a bit until I get the right nice narrow edge that I'm looking for, and again, just a tiny wee bit there, just doesn't go. So again, I've got that tiny little bit there which I can trim off, so I'm going to pop that excuse me, to a side to dry. Oh, excuse me. Now the last one is this other lovely scalloped edge one. These Canard edges are absolutely stunning and you can do so much with them. I loved making the samples for the show with these, and I know quite a few of you actually got these, and they are beautiful. They make such lovely cards. So again, I don't need a lot because it doesn't come right down, doesn't the doesn't the backing on this. So again, just wants a narrow, hold it up until you just get a narrow little edge. Again, as you can see, a narrow edge all around. I just want to slide it across if I can. I don't want to slide across. I'll just slide it across a bit. That's better. That's better. No, it doesn't want to. Just going to slide it across a little bit. That's better. I've got just a little narrow edge there, which I'll trim off once it's dry. So all those can now just go to a side to dry. I'm going to now add my sentiments onto my strip and just trim that little bit off. I've got a little tag there, don't know, must have been a little bit that hadn't trimmed off very easy. That's got it. So again, you can either use the spray glue, or as I'm doing, I'm using the wet glue. So again, just work it round. I'm just putting dabs in the areas on the letters that you've got room, so in the centre of the O, the centre of the N, just a bit between the words. It just helps to keep it flat. So then it just wants a very narrow border. So you can see you've got your narrow border there. And that will do the same with birthday. Again, just right round the edge first. And just fill in on some of the spaces between the letters. You can see just dabs there where there's the odd little spaces. It just helps to keep it flat. I'm going to turn this round so that I can position it better. So do that like that. And again, that will be put to a side just to let it dry. So that's got it. So I'll leave that again with the others to dry, and we will now go on and start putting our card together. So making sure that you've got your fold at the top. Your first one that we're going to put down is the deep fuchsia pink. And again, just running just a run edge of glue. Don't put too much on, there's no need. This is good strong glue, so just a narrow bit will hold it adequately. So again, just going to allow just a nice narrow border all the way around. So that is your first layer. So we're now going on to the mid pink, and I say it's this beautiful linen card, so make sure that you put your ink on the smooth side. Again, just run it all the way around, a nice thin bead all the way around the edge. If you don't like using wet glue for this, double-sided tape is fine, but I do recommend using a good one, either the brown covered one, the red line, or the blue tape. I've found in the past, from obviously doing the samples for shows, that in time the cheaper finger lift tape does give and it comes off. The number of times we've had to re-add sheets back at mats and layers and trimmings, embellishments and that to cards because the tape has given way. So, you know, if you want your cards to last, put a good tape on. You've now got a paler pink. Now this is not the same size, and all you need to do is make sure that your top and bottom borders are even, because they don't need to come right to the end. This is only, if I show you on the card, it only shows through right in the centre. So again, just run a narrow bead of glue round, all the way around on the edge. beauty of this craft artist glue, it doesn't make your card warp. It's fantastic for that. So just make sure that your top and bottom borders are even. So we've got it to that stage. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start and add our borders, our panels. So on your card, if you can see, the two scalloped edge ones are the ones at the bottom. So we'll work on those first. And first of all, we need to see if there's any that just needs a little trim off. If you can see, there's just a narrow edge here, which I'm just going to trim off with some scissors. Again, tilting my scissors so it undercuts. The other side's fine. I'll just check the others. That's just got a little bit, so again, just undercut there. And a little bit here. It's so easy to undercut them and just trim them up. It just makes it a little bit easier, and it makes them look better on your card when you've finished. And again, just tilt your scissors. So I'll just put those to a side and get all my little bits out of the way. Right, so I'm going to start. Oops, there's a little bit there that I've missed. Just missed that little bit. So I'm going to work on these, and these go on with foam tape. So I'm going to start first of all with your tape. You want a little bit on the bottom first. A little bit down either edge. I hope I've given you enough tape for doing this. I hope I shall kick myself if I haven't. Now then, I'm going to run a tape round this shape. Best way to do that is peel your backing off, start your tape off, and then you can curve it. It will not curve properly with the tape backing on. You do have a tendency to get stuck to it, so just be patient. Once you get to that side, you can just nip it off, and it goes in like that. So we've got those like that now, so I'm going to just get the right tweezers, because these, I'm afraid, are absolutely, as you can see, stuck up with glue. I do need to get some bits to clean that off. I'm going to probably just put a little bit of tape in the middle, just crosswise, just to support it, because there's quite a bit goes on top of this. I'm just going to dab it with glue so it takes all the static off the glue. It doesn't grab straight away on the card. So I just put some odd little dabs of glue, so if you can see there, just on the tape. So we now need to leave equal borders, top, bottom and to a side. Excuse me. I've been plagued with this hay fever all week. So we're now going to put the other one on this side. So again, see, I think there's just a tiny, oh dear me. Just trim that little bit off there. And again, tape on the bottom. Tape down either side. I was hoping that by keeping all the windows shut and being inside that it wouldn't bother me, but unfortunately it appears to be still So again, peeling the backing off my tape, I can then curve it nicely round and follow the curve and trim it off. And again, just a little bit across the middle, just to support it. And we'll take the backing off and add just our little bits of glue. And, whoops. And this time I'm going to turn this round because I always tend to work positioning from my left. I don't know why, because I'm right-handed. So again, just position nicely so your card is even. So I've got even borders all the way around. So we're now going to work on the next two layers. So we need to make sure we've got the right layers for them. Again, we're popping the tape on along the bottom. And down at the sides. And again, I'm just going to peel the tape and I'm going to run it round the curve. The beauty of this plastic tape, it does this so well. And again, just trim that back. And just going to stick a tiny wee bit in there just to hold it, a bit there. So I've got those bits on ready. Again, we'll take this off and add the dabs of glue. Whoops, pulling the whole thing off there. And just dabs of glue all the way around. And this then, we're matching these edges right up exactly on top of the previous layer. So you can see there, they go right on top of the previous layer. So as you can see them, they are matched up all the way around. So again, go on to the last of these panels. Again, just along the bottom. A little bit down either side. They do need supporting to these, so it is worth just taking your time to do this. And again, peel off the backing. And again, just curving nicely. And if there looks to be a tuck in it like that, it will press down. So don't think that it's going to make it look uneven. Except when you get all stuck up with it. I'm just going to pop a little bit in there to support it. And so your fingers don't get stuck up. Just press firmly down and it goes all nice and flat. So this is the last panel, and then we'll be working on our tag, our sentiment tag and the flowers. Again, just a few dabs of glue. It stops it grabbing too quickly. Again, I'll turn my card round so that I can balance it. So again, right to the edge, pressing it down. I've just got a bit of glue mark there, so I'm just going to take my glue eraser and rub it off. These are absolutely fantastic for getting rid of glue marks, especially when you've used some of the new replaceable tape, that isn't, is it? Repositionable tape. The new lot seem to have a lot more stick on them, and it does sometimes leave bits on your card, and these glue erasers are fantastic. So there, we've got our card to that stage. So we're now going to start and dress it. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my tags so that I've got both of them ready. So it's entirely up to you where you put yours. So what I'm going to do with mine, I'm going to put one there on your and birthday there. So again, just with a little bit of tape. Let's make sure I've got it in the right place. So just want a little bit there. And a little bit on this one. And just take the backing off our tape, and so I'm going to pop this one just there, and put birthday. It's entirely up to you which side you put yours on. You can put yours on at the other side, that's no problem at all. I'm just going to put that one on there like that. Move these to this side, and we're going to now go back to our flowers and to our leaves. So I'll bring the leaves over. So what I'm going to do first of all with my leaves, I'm just going to turn these, I'm not turning these right over, I am going to just press these in the centre, and with you actually doing the ink over your fingers, it does tend to give them some shape. You don't need to make them too shaped. So just like that, and it gives them just that little bit of shape when you put them on your card. Now going on to trimming my flowers, and I'm going to cut these quite close. If you can see there, I'm cutting them as about 3-4 mil off the flower, and I'm just using some clippers. This one doesn't want to clip on. That's got it. Usually it's when it comes off a lot easier when there's none of the paper on. This one I can do with scissors because it's just the threads. I'll take that one off and take that one off. So we've got our flowers. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually lay them out how I think I'd want them to be. So I think I'm going to put one leaf there, one there, and we'll start off with one of the bigger flowers. So there, we put the other one there, and then put the small one in there, and then we can add the other leaves as we go round. So I'm going to pop the leaves on first. Doesn't want a lot of glue, just catching it. I'm going to put that one there, just hold it for a minute. You can leave it, actually, you can see how it's given it that little bit of definition. Yes, definition, that's right. It's not laying flat, and that's what we want. So if you just catch it like that, so pop that on at that end. And I'm going to put one of these little ones in as well. I'm going to pop this one here. I'm going to use glue gel now. Just going to actually just take that off. That's it. So I'm going to, which one I'm going to use? I think I'll put this one on first. So I'm going to put all my glue gel round where I cut off the stamen. I'm going to put that one in there. And then again with this one, and put that one on there. Just try and interlink the leaves, the petals a bit, because flowers in nature do that. They don't stand all separate. So by interlinking the leaves a little bit, something like that. When that's dry, we can pull the petals up a bit more. So don't worry that they look a bit flat. If you're using glue gel, you do need to leave them to just dry off before you lift them up a little bit. So I'm going to pop another one of those in there, like that. And let's pop some of these in. I'm going to pop that one in there. And have another bit somewhere. And let's pop that one in there. I might just try one. Let me see, this one just round at this side. Let's lock that one. Oops, didn't want to go in there. Doesn't want to. So I'm going to leave those. I haven't used those other two little bits, but they need to dry now with the glue gel. And so I'm going to pop that one to that side. That is how we can pull, if you can see that, that is how we can pull the leaves up and the stamens once it's all dry. But just at the moment, they need to dry off. Just going to push that back in a little bit. So I hope you enjoy making this card, and please don't forget to share your makes with a chance to win this lovely Nellie's 3D embossing folder, and it is called Poinsettia, and it makes a beautiful DL card background. So don't forget, share your cards. Watch out for the next video, which will be for Kit 7. So take care, enjoy yourself. Bye.